Malmö is the third largest city in Sweden, and it's a fascinating and historic place. In this video I will show you how to get there, the best historic attractions to see, and the highlights of the old town. So let's go! Although Malmö has its own small airport, the easiest way to get there is actually via Copenhagen Airport in Denmark. After you land and leave the arrivals area, look for a bank of red ticket machines to buy a train ticket. The machines have an English option, making it nice and easy, and if you do get confused, there is always a helpful member of staff nearby to help. Simply buy a ticket to Malmö Central and then head down the escalators and board a train. The train journey is about 30 minutes or so, and this takes you over the epic Öresund Bridge. They sometimes check passports here, so make sure you have your travel ID handy just in case. Once you arrive in Malmö Central Station, you might fancy a snack, so why not head through into the food hall in the station to get some nourishment before heading into the city to explore. The old town of Malmö is charming and full of small streets with a great variety of shops and places to eat. In the very centre is the bustling Lilla Torg. This small square is surrounded by historic looking buildings and always seems to be busy. There are many bars and restaurants here, and it's nearly always lively in the evenings as well. Almost next door to the Lilla Torg is the largest Stortorget, or Stortorget. No idea how to pronounce that. In the middle you will find an impressively larger than life statue of one of Sweden's more famous kings. Also in this square is the ornate town hall, which was originally built in the 16th century but got a facelift in the 19th century in a Dutch Renaissance style. Most impressive. Leading off from the square is the pedestrianised Södergaten, which is one of the main shopping streets of Malmö. Also in the old town is a huge brick Gothic St. Peter's Church. This fascinating looking building was constructed in the 14th century and is the oldest and largest church in Malmö. The interior is large and airy. It is almost completely whitewashed, making it seem very peaceful and serene. Highlights include a large and famous altarpiece that was built in 1611 and is breathtakingly detailed. There is also a small side chapel next to the main entrance that contains many delicate murals. You can follow the canals to the next location, which is Malmö Castle. This is one of the most interesting sights of the city and contains a huge museum, so make sure you don't miss it. The castle was originally built in the 15th century, and its history follows closely that of Malmö's history. Malmö was for centuries a part of Denmark, and the castle was an important fortress for the Danes. After the Swedes regained Malmö, the castle was remodelled to its present look in the 17th century and even withstood a Danish siege in 1675. These days the castle houses a rather eclectic museum with a few different parts to explore, so let's take a look. One section contains the usual historic rooms full of portraits and ornate furniture that you would expect to see in a building like this. You can also visit one of the huge round towers to explore an interesting military exhibition. Underneath the castle are the dungeons with interesting information about the times when the castle was a prison. There is also the main museum to explore, set over a few floors. These contain many paintings from various eras as well as a huge variety of objects and artifacts. Honestly, it has so much stuff it's hard to know where to begin. Then on the top floor there is a modern art gallery as well. And to top it all off, the castle also has a natural history museum with stuffed animals and even some dinosaurs. And if that wasn't enough, there is also a large aquarium in the basement that's full of many fascinating species to look at. Overall, the castle is fantastic. There is so much variety here that you can easily spend a day in this place, and it has something for everyone. Behind the castle is a huge park with interesting gardens to explore and even a windmill. Across the road from the castle is the Technical and Maritime Museum, which tells the story of maritime industry and also technology in Malmö. There are many interesting artifacts here. The main rooms contain a variety of planes and other vehicles, some of which, like this little car, are quite cool. There is also a room full of steam engines and other vehicles, many of which are very interesting, especially as some of them are moving, which is always a bonus. The highlight of the entire museum, and the main reason you should definitely visit, is the giant freaking submarine. This is U3, a World War II era Swedish sub that you can go inside, giving you a good idea of what life must have been like for Swedish submariners back then. It's very cramped inside, and I was surprised they allowed people to crawl through it. I had my camera gear and big backpack, and squeezing through the compartments was very tricky but massively fun. On the top floor is an interactive science exhibition where you can play with experiments and learn at the same time, so don't miss it because it's also rather fun. A short-ish walk from the museums is the beach. Yeah, that's right, somewhat unexpectedly, Malmö has a beach, and I've been told it's quite nice and busy in the summer. I visited in winter when it was cold and windy, so decided against sunbathing. However, it does offer some really great views. In the far distance you can just about see the Öresund Bridge, which is the one that connects Malmö to Copenhagen, which, had you come in via Copenhagen Airport, is the one you would have come across. There's also the Ribersborgs open air bath, which is a historic building on the end of a long wooden pier. Here you can partake in cold water swimming in the sea or use the saunas, and there's even a cafe. I did not go inside as I had read reviews where it seemed expected that everyone should be naked here, and being somewhat modest, I did not have the courage to go inside. From the beach you can also see Sweden's second tallest building, the Turning Torso. This graceful looking skyscraper was designed by Santiago Calatrava and opened in 2005. It is 190 meters high with 54 stories containing 147 apartments. Its twisting form was inspired by a sculpture of a human twisting around. I don't think you can go in, but it looks impressive enough, so it's worth walking around outside. Heading back into the centre of the city and just outside the train station, you will find historic docks and harbours of Malmö, where you can see some impressive buildings as well as boats. I had a good stroll around and it was a chilled and relaxing place, so I definitely recommend having a walk around here. There are a few lighthouses, including this nice looking one, the Malmö Old Lighthouse. If you walk up to the next lighthouse you can get some pretty impressive views of the wider docks, including the more modern ones where you might see a car ferry docking. And I believe Malmö is one of the largest car importer-exporter hubs in all of Scandinavia. There is also a pleasant modern marina nearby with many yachts and boats to look at if you fancy it. The final location is the Disgusting Food Museum. This somewhat odd attraction contains 80 of the world's most disgusting foods, although that's probably quite subjective depending on where you are from, because quite a lot of it was quite nice, including cheeses from France. You can smell and taste some of them, and there are sick bags handy just in case you need them. This one is the only one that was especially repulsive. It's some kind of pickled shark from Iceland and it smelt like something from a nightmare. Blech. After walking through the small room and exhibits you then get to try some of the stuff, including insects, which to me barely tasted of anything, so not really disgusting, it's more the thought that was kinda horrible. Finally you can take part in a hot chili sauce tasting where you can put dabs of chili oil on your tongue that get progressively stronger until your head feels like it's on fire. It's quite small but overall a fun and interesting place to visit. I went on my own, but I think this would be one attraction where you really should go with a bunch of friends because it's kind of fun and it's the sort of place where you can have a laugh together. That's it for Malmö. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Cheerio!